Well, it has been a busy week in the life of the Wilshire Student Ministry. I would like to invite Melinda Thompson and Carson Brown to come forward as they're making their way up to the chancel. I'll let you know that the three of us, along with 70 or so of our closest friends, just got back yesterday afternoon from a week in the nation's capital. Washington, D.C. was the location for this year's Wilshire Youth Choir tour. This is an annual event that we go on each June, where we travel, pick a location, and then find a way to go, and as Doug has always called it, to sing and serve in that location. Various singing venues and working with different mission partners. In fact, Doug, just before we left, wrote a wonderful piece about the importance of youth choir tours and the formation that happens there and how important they are. And so I wanted to start simply by asking you guys this question: why go on this trip? You just got out of school, you got a whole summer ahead of you. Why take 9 days to go and sing and serve?
I think one of my biggest reasons is definitely the relationships that we get to build. This trip is definitely a big bonding experience for us. I've become friends as a junior in high school with 7th graders that go to a different school that are in completely different activities than me. And it's just really awesome to be able to build those relationships with them, as well as doing mission work completely out of our regular area and just getting to touch other people's lives.
Excellent. Carson, what about you?
Yeah, like Melinda said, I enjoy making relationships with everyone in the youth choir, and I love doing the mission work and singing in interesting locations. And so we even got to sing on the plane ride home, so I thought that was pretty cool. So.
Yeah, Jeff kind of threw us a curveball on the plane on the way home. You know that sound the plane. You can tell when you're starting your initial descent, and everybody kind of release the tension a little bit, and all of a sudden the Virgin America's flight attendant comes over and announces that we're about to sing on the plane. So that was interesting. That was the first time. You mentioned relationships. It was fun to get to sing at the church of Austin Almaguer, where he is currently serving as pastor at Wilshire Baptist Church. These trips are always fun for times we get to rekindle some of those older relationships that we've had. So it was fun to get to see Austin and Allison in their new digs and get to visit with them. Both of you mentioned missions as being a key part of these trips that we do. I wonder if you could each one maybe tell us about one of the mission partners we worked with and what that looked like.
Okay, so we worked with an organization called Bread for the World. And this was an interesting mission opportunity for me, at least, because it was a completely different side than what we're used to. I think we're all, as a group, used to putting on our work clothes and going and doing all the grunt work. But this time we went and we got to write letters to our state representatives and ask them to increase the budget to organizations that go to end world hunger. It was a just different experience, and I really enjoyed getting to see more of the behind-the-scenes work that goes on with mission work instead of doing the important work of sorting cans or all of that kind of stuff.
Yeah, great. Carson, what about you?
My personal favorite organization that we worked with was Hunger Van, which was run out of one of the lower floors of First Baptist Church of the city of Washington, D.C.
Yeah.
And it's run by a guy named Samir. He's from India. He moved here when he was very, very young. And he started to recognize early in his life how if your neighbor is hungry, you can't go to sleep. So he started to work with the church to end hunger. And so he allowed us to come and make meals for a group of homeless people over in Judiciary Square, which has a very high concentration of homeless people. So that was great because we got to meet a bunch of people and listen to their stories and also help make their days. So, yeah.
Yeah, in a lot of ways, this trip was good for connecting a lot of dots as far as between missions work and advocacy and relief work and, like Melinda said, kind of being at the front end of things, understanding that the problems, when you go out to, say, hand a sandwich to a homeless gentleman, what things are in place that have allowed that to happen. And so we were able to kind of talk about the importance of our work from all sides of it, from the beginning all the way through to the end, and being able to see how that can be changed and affected, and how these, as teenagers, can have a very strong role in changing the world. Each night, when we gather together to kind of review the day, we share some highs and lows from the day, but Heather Mustaine, our missions minister, has helped us to focus our attention a little bit by asking the question, where did you see God at work today? Whether it was in relationships or in the work you did or in a conversation you had. And so the last question I'll ask you guys is simply, where was one time where you recognized God at work during the week?
So one of the nights we got to sing at Central Union Mission, which it's over in a poorer part of DC, and we got there early, and they just kind of announced that they were going to sing for us after we sang for them. We were like, oh, okay, that'll be fun. And so we finished singing, and then a bunch of guys get up and announce that they are called the group of the Men of Valor, and they just start singing for a good 10, 12 minutes, and it was great. Everyone was clapping, and who would have thought you could see so much joy in a room full of homeless people? So I thought that's where I saw God.
I think I saw God most when we were working with Capitol Hill Ministries. We made lunches, sandwiches, and then proceeded to walk around the streets of the city and reach out to homeless people that were sitting on the side of the road. And I think it was really interesting to see someone who you could tell was just used to kind of blending into the background and not being seen, and actively going towards them and being, can I give you a water? Can I give you a sandwich? Just asking if there was anything that we could do for them, and just seeing their faces light up and how they just were so filled with joy that they were being seen and being interacted with, and how they would just start talking to you and tell you their story. I think that was how I saw God most this week.
Excellent. Well, thank you, Carson and Melinda. We invite all of you to come back tonight to hear more stories maybe, and our homecoming concert as the youth perform. Feel free to stop and ask any youth you see walking around. They've all got stories, just like Carson and Melinda do. They would love to share them with you. And each time we come back from this trip, it's a strong reminder of the generosity that exists here at Wilshire to allow us to be able to make trips like this. It is not cheap to do trips like this and to provide experiences for our students. So thank you, Wilshire, for not only giving to the general budget fund that helps to underwrite this, but also for our spaghetti supper and lunch and other fundraising that we do throughout the year. You make it possible for these students to be able to have these kinds of opportunities. So thank you very much.